Hello, this is Dr. Dan Kahinka. I oftentimes get questions regarding how to create an effective PowerPoint presentation. What I've done here for you is I just finished a presentation addressing the topic of applied psychology and human resources, and I thought this would be a good time to review over that presentation. I will give you some tips on how to develop an effective PowerPoint. The first thing we'll do here is you'll notice in front of you is I have PowerPoint opened up, and what I will review over with you is really three primary components of a PowerPoint that I believe makes for a highly effective PowerPoint. So first off is a graphic of some former nature, a picture, figure, a graph, a table, whatever it might be, a title to your slide, and then some bullets. This is kind of a standard approach that I take. Obviously, there are other approaches, other models you can maybe follow. I particularly like this one because I find it very effective. What I've done here is, here's my title slide, and I want to create, using an image, I want to create some form of impression in the audience's mind. I want to grab their attention. For some reason, I saw this picture and thought it was interesting. Some bees in a beehive here, because many times people think of worker bees, and I'm giving a presentation here on human resources and workers. So I just thought it was rather interesting. PowerPoint does come with a feature like this over here. You'll see on the right side, where just kind of depending on your personal, I guess you could just say your personal point of view, your personal interest, your personal whatever it is, uh, you can select from all these different options, and you can see many of them are very attractive. It just kind of depends on your personal preference. I guess that's what I was looking for there. And so you can see many different attractive options it gives you. I would suggest, however, that you do not dramatically alter the one slide to another. It can get rather distracting. I have done that somewhat, where you'll see I have an image to the left, another image to the left. Now I have an image to the left, but a little bit different format to it. Here I have an image on the top. I selected these, or one reason why I selected these different formats is because of the pictures. I wanted to lay out the picture in a more effective manner. You'll notice that on each one of my slides, I have a topic. Very simple. What the topic does for me as a presenter is reminds me what I'm talking about, and it lets, of course, the audience know what I will be addressing. The picture I try to align with the topic for that slide to give the audience something to remember the information by. There's some psychology going on here. In this case, what do you think of when you see this picture? Many times people will say education, classroom, learning. And that's the image I want to get across for this slide, is education, experience, knowledge, skills, that sort of thing. Each one of these bullet points, just one word is enough to tell me as a presenter what I need to discuss. So many times, relatively inexperienced presenters will, for a variety of reasons, maybe they're afraid, their confidence, they're afraid of not just the audience, but afraid they will forget something. Maybe they're not confident in that. Maybe they don't know the information good enough. Well, all of those reasons can be overcome using the following approach. And that is, put down keywords that remind you of what you want to talk about. Because if you put full sentences, it'll distract the audience. They'll read the sentence rather than listen to you. If you have a full sentence, you're more likely as a presenter to get lost, because you will start reading the information rather than presenting to your audience. And for practical reasons, if you're in front of a group rather than a virtual environment or recording, if you're in front of a group and let's say the PowerPoint is behind you, you will tend to be looking at that PowerPoint presentation. Or if you have a laptop or something right in front of you, you're going to read that stuff. And you are not effectively engaging your audience, which that leads to a whole series of other problems. You cannot see their faces and see what their reactions are and look for people asking questions. All of those things, there are these secondary negative effects of reading your presentation. However, if you have these bullet points, well, assuming you know something about your topic, you can look at this. For instance, when I just gave this presentation, I saw job analysis, and I sat, basically sat there and explained what job analysis is. I did not, I knew information about that. Then I moved on to education. I described how education is part of that job analysis and experience and some of those other things and how one leads to the other. If you are not as familiar with the topic as someone else might be, or if it's something that's new to you because let's say you're a student in a class and you have to give a presentation on something you're just not quite familiar with, well, what you can do is create words like this, bullet points, just reminder words. And rather than, like for myself in this video, I talked maybe for a minute about this topic, maybe you only talk for about 10-15 seconds about it. You just describe what it is. And then the next bullet, you describe what it is and what it means. And then the next one and the next one. Even though you maybe have more slides and more bullets, as long as it doesn't get distracting, that is still better than having full sentences and reading those. From a student standpoint, from an employee standpoint, if you're in a training environment, you yourself will end up learning more by doing it this way rather than just repeating information that you've written down. Copy, paste, read does not lead to learning experience for you or your audience. Not as effectively anyways as these methods I'm describing here. You will notice all of my slides neatly organized. I pay very close attention to detail. If I do not have capitalized words here, I make sure all of them are not capitalized and I maintain that from one slide to the next. You'll notice I do not have some of those graphics many times that people will use for PowerPoint where things are sliding in or curtains or appearing magically, that type of stuff. I do not believe in that. I find that more distracting than anything. Each picture applies to what I'm going to be talking about. Here's employee performance. That's part of my evaluation slide. And at times, some of the images I will use as a tool for the slide. It's not just a picture like this, which this picture is supposed to give the impression of rewards and awards and celebration. This Maslow's hierarchy of needs image right here, I actually use in my presentation. And in addition to the bullet point Maslow's needs theory, I also use the words here, which the words are less important to the audience than they are perhaps in this case to me, because I'm now using this to discuss this theory and how it applies to my presentation. Finally, I will typically end with a conclusion to summarize what I've just discussed. At times I'll even put maybe the first slide that I started out with, I'll put it at the end just to kind of wrap things up like a book. Hopefully these tips helped you. In summary, we have the title of the slide, a brief, very brief bullet point or word or two about what you are going to be discussing on that slide, and then some form of image on that slide to help grab the attention of the audience and something that you can use as a tool. It'll make your slides more visually appealing and it'll make your overall presentation much more effective. This is Dr. Dan Kohinka. I hope you enjoyed this little presentation, and I hope that it leads to more effective presentations for you in the future. Thank you, and you have a wonderful and blessed day.